Hello, Indian mythology fans. My name is Sonika, and I am the author of the book Who God Really Is. Today, I bring you the birth, death, and rebirth story of the world's most famous, most well-known Hindu god, Ganesh. He has the elephant head. As always, after telling you the story, I will teach you the very useful lessons of this ancient Hindu myth that you can still apply to your modern love and romantic relationships in the 21st century. Now, Hinduism is sometimes called a complicated religion. It's why I wrote the book Who God Really Is, a book in which the principles of Hinduism are best understood and God is explained through a modern, rational lens. Do grab your copy on Amazon today. Let me tell you the story now. Goddess Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva, was deeply devoted to her husband. But she often found herself alone when Shiva would retreat into deep meditation or leave for cosmic duties. Her husband Shiva did not actively seek children. He wasn't crazy about the idea of becoming a father at that time. One day, desiring a loyal attendant of her own, she decided to create one for herself. Using the divine paste of turmeric and sandalwood that she applied to her body during her bath, Parvati carefully shaped a figure of a young boy with a sturdy, beautiful form. With her divine energy, she infused life into the figure, and thus a radiant child was born. This child was none other than Ganesha, her son, whom she adored deeply. Parvati, overjoyed, embraced Ganesha and declared him her own guardian, instructing him to stand at the entrance of her chamber while she bathed. She commanded him not to allow anyone to enter without her permission. As fate would have it, Lord Shiva returned home at that very moment. He had been away in deep meditation and was unaware of the existence of this new child. When he arrived at the threshold of Parvati's private chambers, Ganesha, obedient and resolute in his mother's command, blocked his path. Shiva, astonished at this unknown boy's defiance, demanded entry, but Ganesha, devoted to his mother's instructions, stood firm and refused to allow him in. Shiva's anger flared. Who was this child who dared challenge the mighty Mahadeva himself? Ganesha, equally strong-willed, refused to yield. A fierce battle ensued. The other gods, including Vishnu and Brahma, attempted to mediate, but Ganesha was relentless in his duty. Shiva, exasperated, ultimately called upon his ganas, or divine attendants, to fight Ganesha, but the young boy, imbued with Parvati's divine energy, overpowered them all. Realizing that Ganesha was no ordinary child, Shiva himself entered the battlefield. In his divine fury, he finally used his Trishul, or trident, and beheaded the boy in one swift motion. Ganesha was dead. When Parvati emerged from her bath and saw her son's lifeless body, she was inconsolable. Her sorrow quickly turned into wrath, and she transformed into Adi Shakti, the primordial goddess, or the all-powerful, omnipotent mother of the universe, vowing to unleash destruction upon the universe if her son was not restored. The gods trembled at Parvati's rage. Brahma and Vishnu tried to console her, but she refused to listen. She threatened to annihilate creation itself. Seeing the dire situation, Lord Shiva, deeply remorseful, sought to pacify Parvati. He promised to revive Ganesha, to bring him back to life. However, the boy's head had been destroyed. To restore him, Shiva instructed his attendants to bring the head of the first living creature they encountered. The Ganas searched in haste and came across an elephant, an auspicious and wise creature who bowed before them in divine understanding. With reverence, they took the elephant's head and brought it to Lord Shiva. With his divine powers, Lord Shiva placed the elephant's head onto Ganesha's lifeless body, breathing life back into him. The boy stirred and Ganesha was reborn, now with the head of an elephant, radiating wisdom and divine brilliance. Parvati, though still in pain, was relieved to see her beloved son alive again. Lord Shiva, realizing Ganesha's unique destiny, proclaimed that henceforth Ganesha would be revered as the foremost of all gods. Shiva blessed Ganesha with immense wisdom, prosperity, and divine status, decreeing that he would be worshipped first before the beginning of any endeavor, ritual, or yagna, a sacred fire ritual. Thus, Ganesha became Vignaharta, the remover of obstacles, and Pratam Pujya, the first deity to be worshipped. The gods rejoiced, and Parvati embraced her son, proud of his strength and devotion. The union between the animal head and God was significant here, as it really taught humans that animals should be cared for and loved, and not slaughtered. The universe recognized Ganesha's divine role, and from that moment on, he became one of the most beloved deities in Hindu tradition. Traditionally, Ganesha's beheading is considered to symbolize the destruction of ego, which paves the way for divine wisdom. Ganesha was created to attend upon his mother, to protect her, and thus cherish her. We protect who we cherish. What and who we do not protect, we do not cherish nor value. Ganesha's mother Parvati, or Shakti, the all-powerful mother, represents wisdom. Thus, when Ganesh attends upon his mother Parvati, when he is around her and servicing her, he acquires or is imbued with life-changing wisdom. Ganesha's birth, fall, and rebirth remind me of the story of Adam and Eve from the Hebrew Bible. Similar to Adam, Ganesha is created from a sort of mud that has been part of his mother's body. Like the second Adam, also known as Jesus Christ, the conception of Ganesha does not involve intercourse. His rebirth marks the achievement of understanding, or the happy middle ground between his mother and his father, or who many people call the divine feminine and the divine masculine respectively these days. Here is what I write about understanding in my book, Who God Really Is. It did not take long at all for me to understand how true it is that ultimately we are all serving and experiencing the same God, atheists included, though at different saturation levels, one might say. Our personal and collective linguistic limitations have caused us to think otherwise over the course of thousands of years. This understanding came quickly to me. The effects of genuine God worship are astonishing. This observation of reality certainly supports the truth that understanding is beyond thought. It is superior to thought. Understanding is greater than thought. Atheism advocates definitely do not recognize the fact that understanding indeed is superior to thought, for they live or exist in the realm of thought and groupthink. I have also written the book, The Honest Case Against Atheism, which you can read on Amazon. I dedicate a significant part of my book, What is God Good For? Evil, Karma, Sin, and Suffering, correctly explained finally to the story of Adam and Eve. I strongly encourage you to grab your copy of my book on Amazon today. The story of Lord Shiva, Goddess Parvati, and the birth of Ganesha parallels the mindset programs that shape human relationships. Shiva represents detachment, stillness, and transcendence, whereas Parvati embodies nurturing emotion and creation. Just as Shiva does not actively seek fatherhood, but fulfills it when required, many individuals unknowingly adopt subconscious beliefs about relationships based on past experiences, societal conditioning, or personal temperament. Some people, like Shiva, may have a deeply ingrained program of emotional independence or avoidance, leading them to prioritize solitude over connection. Others, like Parvati, may have a mindset wired for companionship and nurturing, making them more inclined to create bonds and seek closeness. This dynamic often leads to misunderstandings and conflicts in relationships, similar to the confrontation between Shiva and Ganesha. Parvati created Ganesha with pure intentions of protection and love, but Lord Shiva, unaware of this, perceived him as an obstacle and reacted impulsively. In human relationships, individuals often operate from their pre-programmed beliefs, interpreting actions through their own lens rather than understanding the deeper emotional needs of the other person. When two people with differing mindset programs come together, such as an independent person and an emotionally expressive one, clashes arise unless they cultivate awareness and communication. The tragedy of Ganesha's beheading mirrors how unexamined patterns and impulsive reactions can lead to important imbalances, which we need to pay attention to. Those imbalances ultimately damage relationships, sometimes irreversibly. However, the story also offers hope and transformation. Shiva's willingness to acknowledge his mistake, restore Ganesha, and bestow blessings symbolizes the power of self-awareness and change. In relationships, once individuals recognize their own programming, whether it be fear of a vulnerability, attachment issues, or emotional suppression, they can consciously reprogram their beliefs and respond differently. Just as Lord Shiva ultimately honored Ganesha and embraced his role as a father, humans too can grow beyond their initial conditioning, fostering deeper and more fulfilling connections. The key lies in understanding our own mindsets, honoring the emotional realities of others, and choosing to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. If you have found it somewhat difficult to understand God well through the often complex Hindu stories, then do read my book, Who God Really Is, on Amazon. It is a book in which the principles of Hinduism are best understood and God is explained through a modern, rational lens. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak with you in the next episode.